It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to a special time of Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast on this 30th day in November 2023. Coming to you today from my studio in Forest, Virginia, Bedford County. Right after the show, when I finish processing the podcast, I'll be leaving and heading for Port Canaveral, Florida. Eventually, I'll be stopping tonight in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And our show tomorrow morning will be at a special time of 9 o'clock as well. Coming to you from Orangeburg. And I see, Mike and Nikki and Joanne are all with me. So we got a couple of people here this morning. You never know when you're doing something early like this. There wasn't a whole lot of news today, folks. One story I had yesterday, but I could not verify it before we went on the air, and I didn't use it at all yesterday. Excuse me. But that's now been verified. Guests were left behind on an overbooked ship. Also today, Carnival testing a new debarkation procedure. And information on the new terminal at Galveston, and lots more here live at 9 o'clock this morning. Steve's with us today, too. Good morning, Steve. Today is National Moose Day. And for Emily, whenever she listens to today's show, because I know she's not going to come in early, but Emily, it's not that kind of moose. This is the kind that's that kind of light, fluffy, custardy-like dessert. It can be sweet or savory. I prefer sweet. Like I love chocolate mousse. Some of the fruit-flavored mousses. Yeah, so I can deal with that. Maybe for dinner tonight, I'll be someplace that has mousse on the menu. And clearly, by the time I get on the ship Saturday, there will be plenty of mousse on the ship. That's one of Norwegian's favorite things. All right, if you're listening via the podcast, you guys are always welcome here. You can access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. If you're listening via the podcast and never want to jump over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast, so you can do just that. Now, some of you guys, the podcast world is a whole different world than we're used to in like my YouTube channel and subscribers and et cetera, et cetera. The podcast world is different. Now, I've only been doing the podcast now about a year and a half. Yesterday alone, I had 1,707 downloads. That's new people listening yesterday, which put me over 20,115 in a year and a half. Now, most of you know that I'm pushing for 5,000 on the YouTube channel. I'm at 4,784, I think it was this morning. So I'll hit 4,800 probably during the day today. And I'm hoping by the end of this cruise to hit the $5,000 mark, 5,000 subscriber mark on the YouTube channel. 20,000 on the podcast in a year and a half. So that's why I spend a little time every show welcoming the guys that are listening via the podcast. So, all right. Did I have anything extra this morning? I can't remember if I did or not. Hot Air Tom was in where was he? Hot Air Tom was in in Puerto Rico yesterday, out in the rainforest, and this is the sign Baño Grande. That is, if my Spanish is not the best in the world, but that to me looks like a big bathroom. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is or maybe not. It's not. But anyway, Hot Air Tom. Before we get to that, we'll show you the clip that he said because he's got a little chatter in there as well.
In the El Unique Rainforest. This is our first stop. We got some of the rain water while we're creating a little pond. Beautiful.
All right. Now, the truth of the matter is that Hot Air Tom is out in this rainforest in search of a monkey, as I reported yesterday. And yes, that little pond was created by the rainforest, in the rainforest. Okay. But then from there, he looks up at the top of the mountain, and in the tree just to the right of the bottom of that castle or whatever it is up there at the top, there's a monkey. So Hot Air Tom says, I'm going to go get that monkey. So he climbed up that mountain up there to where that whatever it is at the top, that castle or something, to get the monkey. And he got up there, and there's no monkey. So he said, "Well, while I'm here, I'll just climb up this castle, this moat, to the top of the mountain." And he did, and he looked down, and what did he see down next to that little pond? The monkey with his middle finger sticking up in the air, looking at Tom. That's the way I understood Tom's visit to the rainforest in Puerto Rico. All right. The top story today, folks, comes from our friends over at Carnival. No, it doesn't. That's not the right picture. What happened to the right picture here? You know me, guys. If it's possible to screw it up, I will. Oh, no, I don't want that. What did I do? Oh, my goodness. This is a complete screw up on my part. All right, so I'm trying to get this fixed, folks, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, in our studio. Now, if why am I getting a? I was getting a. I am still getting uh, feedback on my end, and I'm not sure why. Uh, okay, tell me, folks, can you hear me okay, or do you hear the feedback that I'm hearing? Somebody in the chat room? Hmm, wow, I'm not sure why. No feedback, loud and clear. Okay, Thank you. I'll just put up with it on my end. Um, where I'm still trying to figure out where I am here. Brandon. Okay, so let's go back here. There we go. This is the top story today. Sorry about that, folks. I completely messed that up. So, the top story today, a number of guests booked on Quantum of the Seas were denied boarding in Brisbane, Australia, through no fault of their own. The cruise line had overbooked guaranteed staterooms, and without available cabins, several guests hoping to sail with Quantum of the Seas were not permitted to board and instead were left behind when the ship set sail yesterday. The 8-night South Pacific cruise is a round trip itinerary from Brisbane, calling on ports in New Caledonia and Vanuatu before returning to Brisbane on December the 6th. Unfortunately, several guests received a letter at the cruise terminal when they arrived yesterday, alerting them of the unusual situation. The letter read in part, "We regret to inform you that currently we have been unable to allocate a stateroom number to your reservation." There was no explanation as to why staterooms were unable to be allocated, but most likely this is an overbooking situation, as the impacted guests were reported to have booked GTY or guarantee cabins. Those reservations are made without specific stateroom numbers, but are usually assigned a few days before. So, Quantum of the Seas, which can hold 4,180 guests and up to 4,900 passengers with all the berths filled, and the ship is home ported in Brisbane for the Australian summer cruise season and will reposition to Seattle in April for the Alaska sailing season. The notification went on to read, "The time and effort you took to book your cruise is important to us, and we apologize for the inconvenience." Inconvenience? Every aspect of your time with us should be enjoyable, so we have put together some alternate options that we hope will work for you. That's all from the notification. Now, remember, folks, these guys traveled to the port, going to the check-in, expecting to get on a boat. The first option was for guests to remain on standby for their book sailing in the hope that a stateroom might be able to be assigned at the pier before the check-in window closes. In other words, wait till the last minute and see if we can find somewhere to put you. Staterooms could become available if other guests were unable to reach the cruise in time and never checked in on embarkation day. Guests who chose to remain on standby would receive a $100 onboard credit if they were in fact able to sail. If no cabin became available, the guests would receive a full refund as well as a 25% future cruise certificate based off the cruise fare paid for their now canceled vacation. Well, that's real sweet of you. The next option were for impacted guests to switch to similar itineraries on different dates. Now, they already traveled from God knows how far, expecting to go on a cruise, and you're gonna offer them, "Oh, yeah, we'll just go home and come back in 3 months, and we'll do this all over again." One such sailing offered is January 29th. departure of Quantum of the Seas, another 9-night South Pacific cruise. That cruise is visiting the same ports with one additional day at sea. There would be no additional charge. I hope the hell there's not additional charge for guests to switch. Hey, yeah, I hope not. And a free upgrade would be offered. Similarly, guests could shift to any alternate 7 or 8-night sailing with price protection and a complimentary upgrade where possible. Finally, affected guests could simply cancel their cruise, tell Royal Caribbean to go to hell. No, that's not in the Royal Caribbean release, folks. For a full refund, and would also receive a 25% future cruise certificate as compensation for the inconvenience. Now, this all came out of the news release from Royal Caribbean. According to social media posts, several guests were able to be accommodated on the ship at the last minute, but others had to remain behind with no available cabins. All right, now this all came under the guise of spinning it by Royal Caribbean. Here's the part that I had to verify. One guest that was left behind, along with 12 other cabins. So that's 13 cabins that didn't make it on the ship. Okay. That guest, little different from what it says in the release, that guest was contacted by Royal Caribbean head office and was offered a full refund plus 100% future cruise credit and a free deluxe drinks package for any cruise. Now, that's more like what they should have done for another screw up. Overbooked cruises are not a common situation. They do occasionally happen. Royal Caribbean has been the worst. Remember, there were several bookings on Wonder of the Seas. At least those people were notified, a couple weeks before the cruise, not at the port. It's not clear why guests booked on Quantum of the Seas were not notified sooner. So the oversold situation could have been resolved before embarkation. Yeah, Royal Caribbean, you need to get your act together. I mean, fix the computer. It's not that hard. Other cruise lines, you never hear of them overbooking on a regular basis like you guys are. Come on. All right, I'll be back with a couple more stories after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. All right, the next story today, folks, comes from Carnival. In an effort to further smooth the debarkation process, Carnival Cruise Line has introduced a way for guests to use the Carnival Hub app to choose their debarkation time and receive notifications about when they can leave the ship. Rather than having thousands of guests head to guest services to choose luggage tags, passengers will now be able to select their debarkation time and the number of luggage tags they need via the Carnival Hub app. The appropriate tags will be then delivered to their stateroom. On debarkation morning, a notification will be sent through the app to alert guests that their luggage is ready and they can leave the ship. The new process is called Digital Debark, and is currently being piloted aboard Carnival Spirit from Mobile, Carnival Con from Miami, Carnival Dream from Galveston, and Carnival Lake from Jacksonville. The new digital debark luggage tag distribution will not impact guests who prefer to use the self-assist debarkation option. That's still going to be a big cluster, you know what, when everybody tries to get off the ship first. Those guests carry all their luggage themselves, and don't ever get in their way if you're on a wheelchair or a scooter, because those people will absolutely knock the crap out of you. Self-assist guests will still be among the first to debark the ship as soon as the vessel is cleared immigration. Similarly, guests at the Diamond and Platinum levels of Carnival Cruise Line's very important fun person loyalty program, who have earned prior debarkation as a perk, will also not be impacted, as the top level luggage tags will be delivered to their staterooms without the need to select any digital option. I'm all in favor of anything to make the debarkation system smoother. It's for a wheelchair or scooter user. It's a terribly difficult time because unless you go to wherever you're going to be getting off way early, you've got troubles getting on elevators because they're always full. And yeah, it's can be just a real pain. So I would love to see them maybe take the disabled community, the scooters, the wheelchairs, do some special debarking for them, just so you're not in that mob. Uh, anyway, that's a tough part of it. All right. I have one more story today. And again, with all the screw up, it ate a picture. Why does it do that? Let me see. Do I have this picture? And yeah, there it is. So I'm trying to reload the picture real quick so that I don't screw up the show again. All right, the last story today comes from Galveston. In early this month, Roger Rees, he's the Galveston Port Director, said a contract with MSC as the major tenant of Terminal 16 was about 90% complete and expected to be ready sometime in the next 30 days. That's coming up rapidly. What we found out in the interim is not only is this contract ready for MSC, Norwegian and Princess are both interested in that space. Now, I don't know if that's going to be in addition to MSC in that space, or if something happens to MSC that they then want it. I'm not at all sure, but both companies have stated some interest in Terminal 16. Galveston's growth trend should continue in 2024. The port anticipates a 14% increase to 1.6 million passengers, driven by larger ships like Carnival Jubilee and a record of approximately 390 ship calls. I've said many times, I love sailing from Galveston. I did not get back to Galveston this year. That's not going to happen next year. I will definitely sail from Galveston sometime during the year. All right. That wraps up the news portion today. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, I will be here at 9 o'clock again from Orangeburg, South Carolina. All I have to do is pack up my computer and, my computer stuff over on the bag and walk out the door. So I'm on schedule today. I'm not behind on anything. I'm looking forward to getting into Orangeburg at a reasonable hour this afternoon. So I'll see you from Orangeburg. All right. Over in the chat room, I mentioned Mike, Nikki, Joanne, Steve, Katie's here. Good morning to all of you guys. Thanks for being with me early. And then everybody says that they were hearing me loud and clear when I tried to screw it up. That quantum issue is full of baloney. Yeah, I agree that it's if they didn't do it over and over and over, you'd say, okay, it was a screw up. And then there's so much inconsistency in Royal Caribbean's story. There's Emily. Good morning, Emily. I talked about the early part of the show. You'll have to go back and listen to that. I didn't want you to get confused with Moose with 2 O's and Moose with 2 S's. So safe travels and watch out for your toe. Yeah, with all the running around and stuff I did yesterday and getting this chair loaded, getting packed, getting the suitcase out to the car, getting everything ready. It didn't bother me at all. So we'll see. Steve says, have a safe trip. Thank you. Emily says, yeah, I'll go back and watch. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. I'll see everybody from Orangeburg, South Carolina tomorrow, and then Saturday from the Norwegian Escape. Looking forward to that. All right, guys, as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. Hopefully, one day soon, we'll be getting together on the high seas. Have a great day, everybody. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.